Yeah, we had some tech issues. I've never done this redirect thing before with Premiere, so I screwed it up. I went live. I went live as another live rather than the live I was supposed to go, and then I couldn't find where you actually resume the live from. It just said Hard Up Hiker is waiting. It's like, yeah, Hard Up Hiker is desperately trying to search for where you resume the live. It's tricky. I expected the schedule just to kick in. It doesn't do that. If you schedule it, I expected it to automatically go live. No, you have to still click go live. It's a bit weird. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I just had the premiere. I'm just checking the chat. Daftat said, agreed, I brought 2 80-litre bags from Temu. The first split and came apart with 5 uses. Yeah, because I was in the premiere, I was talking about sort of Black Friday and bargains and how to get things that are, how to get bargains, charity shops, secondhand, military, but also kind of like how Temu and AliExpress is a false economy sometimes, or sometimes it's great for other things, but how it's bad for air mattresses. And the other one is backpacks. It seems strange for a bargain channel to say this, but never, ever, ever skimp out on 2 things. Never skimp out on your backpack, never skimp out on your sleeping mattress. You can get secondhand, but don't go for something cheap and nasty, because what will happen is it will fail. And it will fail in a way that totally destroys your trip. I've done this before, even with secondhand stuff. Hey, hi to Molly, how are you? Yeah, so we're gonna talk about the sketchbook. One lockdown sketchbook. She saw a shot of it in the thumbnail, and then I'm going to try and do a self portraits. We have a mirror. Hello. We have a mirror here, and I need to call the chat up as well, because I've got so I can actually see you. I can see you on screen, but it's easier if I can actually see you on the laptop. So talk amongst yourselves a little bit. And hopefully you can hear me. I hope so. I hope so. Let's mute that. Hello, Danny Bye. It says hi. Hello from Istanbul. Hello. Yeah, hi. I can speak to you here, I suppose. But yeah, hi from him. Hi to how's Turkey going? I don't know what the weather's like at the moment. We're having crappy weather. It's very rainy. We just had Storm Claudia. Then, yeah, jokes make themselves. And the sound is good. Oh, excellent. Yeah, because I wasn't sure. I did test the video thing, but you never know, because the mobile's been here waiting for the live. I don't know if it is. But, it's okay in Turkey. Yeah, I'm not so fond of the religious comments, Danny Bye. I don't mind, but yeah, don't start witnessing. So yes, shall we get on with the sketchbook? I'll put you up here and hopefully not disconnect you. So we're going to talk about one of my this is my lockdown sketchbook. Or one of my lockdown sketchbooks. I think I'll move the water out of the way because I'm just guaranteed to knock it over. The reason why I know it's a lockdown sketchbook I want to make sure I'm not doxing myself. No, you are. This is a lockdown sketchbook. Is that? Let's do that. That was from, very unusually, from a is it a pen, sort of fountain pen and wash. That's actually from photographs, because we were trying to do online life drawing. And and I really don't. This is where I realise I really hate working from photographs. It ends up being, I prefer doing life drawing and portraits from real life, because it ends up looking like a caricature, very flat. There's like a little, you know, it's like it feels like a cartoon. That is sort of somewhere near me. That's I think, yeah, that was my first ever. I was using a flex pen for the first time, I think, with that one. Or these early flex pen paintings. Camping rules of cases. Molly says, "Are you using your mic mini?" Yes, I am. I'm using my mic mini. Should be anyway. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's solid green. Hopefully, it's working. This is Kingston Bridge. And these are sort of some of the first flex. If you know your fountain pens, flex pens are the ones with you can actually do a lot of variation in the line. And that's along the River Thames, and this is also along the River Thames. This is, I think, watercolor. This is a night painting, so I did this at night. I used to work at night sometimes, and then be working totally by touch. So it'd be like I knew where, you know, I'd use something like this, and I knew exactly where each of the colours were, and so I'd actually work. I'd actually kind of have to mentally combine the colours in my head while I was doing it. It's tricky. So that's like a river scene like that. I think that's probably Graphitint, Derwent Graphitint, and fountain pen. Again, Tilbury Hope. That's one of the. We have a couple of companies that do tours up and down the river. I live near Hampton Court along the Thames. And Turk's Boats, which is this one, do them, as well as Parr's Boats, which is the other one. They both do kind of like boat tours up the river and river hire and stuff like that. And that's one of their hire boats. So how is everyone today? I've been a bit discombobulated this week, and I was supposed to do a stream on Friday. And then what happened is that I was actually at Moley's. I don't know if you saw Moley's live stream. Camping Rules OK for the moment, although I know he's thinking of changing his name. I was on stream there, so I couldn't do a stream here. And I meant to do one last night, and it got too late after all my shopping. So yeah, it was. More working from photographs. I really didn't like that. I really didn't. It feels too flat to me. It's like you can't get the 3D. You can't get the 3D-ness of the. You can't get the 3D nature of it if it's from a photograph. It's why I don't work from photographs generally. I have done. But I'm not a big fan of it. That's the Hogs Mill at Kingston. That's it, blame me. Yes, yeah, it's all Marley's fault. It's always Marley's fault. And that's the river, that's Ravens 8. I think that is, yeah, that's a church in Kingston. Because of the lockdown, a lot of these would be very local. I spent 100 days doing drawings just along the river. It got really bad because I really felt like I really burnt out the. I've mentioned this in the previous stream. I got really burnt out by it. I really couldn't. So I didn't actually do the river stuff for a long time. Oh, another night painting. That's in my now. Since my partner died, that is in the bathroom or the toilet. There was these things going outside the window, so I drew them. That's the Clatton Bridge in Kingston. You can see a heron there. That's rare use of me using white ink. which I sometimes did, because as I said in the previous painting, or previous one painting, yeah, the previous but one stream, it's very hard to keep the highlights with watercolor, and with ink even more so. And sometimes, yeah, you have to really, it's annoying. It's something spreads out, or in that case, I think the heron turned up. Oop, I'll mute this. It should be muted. The heron turned up, and so I wanted to add it, and then of course you've already done that bit, so hence the white ink. That's I can't remember the name of the place at the moment. It's near Kingston. More river work. A lot of benches. Yeah, these are difficult to show actually because they're like panoramic. Wild Thyme is a barge on the river. I've done quite a few drawings of this. And various bird studies, parakeets, I think. Just watching the parakeets, probably in one of the parks, and drawing them. They're always fun because you have to draw so quickly. Yeah, and I did a lot. I did a whole bus stop series. I did a lot of sitting in bus stops during the lockdown and shortly after because there was nowhere else to go, and I wanted to get away from. I wanted to get away from my partner because we were kind of locked into the same small flat, tiny flat, one studio flat, and sometimes I just wanted to get away, and the lockdown made that difficult. So I quite often have drawings that are actually from bus stops because it was raining, so I was just like I was sort of sitting at the bus stop drawing. That's using the ink I showed in the previous. The Koh-i-Noor ink I showed it in a previous. This is I think, don't know if it's not cherry blossom, but it's one of the trees along the river. And yeah, more benches obviously. This is along the river, and that's the same. I think it's. Oh no, it's. It might be the same Koh-i-Noor, or it could be sketching. There's a sketching that's blue. I just started getting into coloured inks at this point, so things get very vibrant. More night work. That might be night work as well. There's a barge on the river called the Yakulas, which is people live in it, but it's quite a famous one. Oh yeah, that's ink, and that's Kingston Bridge. This could be. I used to use these very strange. They're still fountain pens, but they are a very odd kind of fountain pen, made by Pentel. Yeah, these. If I open it up, it might go everywhere. But they have like a flat nib. In fact, I can't open it up. Oh, great. It's kind of. Oh no. Yeah, they have like a flat nib, and I used to put coloured ink in them. Mix up my own colours actually. So I have like 4 of them and like complementary colours, and so I do like colour pieces just using 4 coloured inks. It's quite tricky because you have to kind of work out how to mix them together on the page. And I think this is one of them as well. This is another one. So it's like fountain pen, and then those pens. At this point I had like a bright green, a yellow, or a sort of yellowy green, and the dark blue in there. And obviously I must have had some ink with it as well for the wash. So I could combine those 3 colours to make a sort of a colour scene. I think at some point I got reds and browns in there as well. These are in Coventry. That's in Coventry. That's a park near. There's like a big country park near Coventry, and quite a new one actually. That's from the. And that dates it. I know exactly when this was. This was August 2020. It was Spon Street in Coventry. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I can do that. It's difficult to know. It's difficult to line it up. I mean, that's where I can see myself. Ugh. It's very hard to line up this because it's not. I can't line up with me. So anyway, I suppose it's there. That should be it. It's quite hard to do because I can't see myself in that. So it's, yeah, anyway. So that's Bond Street, which is, they actually recreated this. They took all the oldest buildings in Coventry that were being demolished by all the road working and put them in one place. So it's kind of like a sort of collection of all the saved old buildings in one place. I can't remember the name of the castle, but there's quite a famous Elizabethan or older castle, and it's got this Atlas statue. I love this statue, but I had to do it really quickly because they were closing. But I really love this. And this is Elizabethan. There's two men each side holding a sort of a globe, and it would have been originally with all these, it would have been a fountain with the water coming down. But it's very beautiful. I can't remember. And there's the. Oh, hi. Thank you, Jen Lou. Jen Lou 7675 says, you got a new sub. Excellent. I'm really proud of this one. You can see me there, sitting on the river, sort of reflected in the barge. And this is a barge on the river. Then there's so many cranes over Kingston. And then there's bits of Kingston there. And again, as I said, this is just done in two colours. I think it's two colours. Might be three, because it's like a green. So it's green, black and blue. And I like sort of trying to use it, only just take like 3 colours, 4 colours, and then work with those. Ah, yeah, and this is Box Hill. And Molly will remember this. You remember the zigzag road at Box Hill? Well, I said I painted and drew it quite a lot. It's hard to show. It's hard to show it because it's of course it's super landscape. But yeah, this is again. I'm just using green and bluey green and I think black. I don't think there's any brown in this. There might be some brown, but yeah. And what I liked about working with the coloured inks is it's very vibrant, very colourful, beautifully colourful. Yeah, I can see that also the paper's starting to fall apart a bit. Although actually it looks like some pigment, so there could have been some, yeah, I don't know if I did some watercolour as well. But this looks more like ink actually. Yeah, this is why I use very thick paper, because I just destroy the paper sometimes when I'm drawing like this. That's in Surrey. Marley says the colours are brilliant. Yeah, I love the colours of, I've still got them. I've still got all these pens. These are all these. I've still got them, and they probably still work. I've not used them for years, so I don't know if they've blocked up. But I can already clean them in the ultrasonic cleaner. I talk about Surrey lanes on the channel, and this is a Surrey lane. This is in Hambledon, near Godalming. At this point, I was staying at my dad's, and that's Box Hill. There's a twisty tree at Box Hill. There's like a olive tree, I think. I don't know how it got planted there, and that's on Barry's Bank, which I've mentioned in my videos. I think that's Richmond. This one is a good one. I love doing this one. Don't know if you can see it properly. Yeah. You might have to not see me for a bit. Because that's the problem. The mirror's now in the way. Again, and what I was fascinated is that they actually painted these 2 meters apart signs on the path. Because I say there's sort of COVID. So there's Kingston. And did I use some? Yeah, I'm using a little bit of white ink as well. But like I said, this is all. At this point I was using brown as well. And I don't know if I was using, it looks like it's watercolour as well. So I think that's a mix of watercolour and ink, coloured ink, I think. Or it might just be ink and watercolour. It's hard to tell from this one, but the brightness says to me it could be actually partially watercolour and ink. Now, if you like colour, this is a lot of colour in this. This is using wax resist, so I would draw without being able to see. I'm drawing white on white, so I can't see what I'm doing. And then I would lay over ink over the top, and then I think this is, I don't know if this is, I really am not sure. This is where it gets difficult to tell. This could be, the brightness of it suggests not, but it could be watercolour. But I would say that's either gouache or ink, because it's just a bit too bright for that. But I loved the idea of working. And there's actually some, while I was doing it, there were some kids. They're not supposed to be in there, because this is the filter beds in Surbiton, where it's it's an industrial site. You're not allowed to go in there. But some kids have somehow managed to get over the fence and were riding around. Hence that's one of them. Oh yes. The sky wasn't supposed to be this dark. I actually spilled ink on it, trying to finish it on a bus. I accidentally took the top off. I think I was using one of these or something. I took the top off and the ink just went pfft, and I was trying to clean up the bus because I knew the ink would just set because it's permanent ink. Molly says, that is definitely my favourite so far. The river setting reminds me of my cross-country trip. I assume you're probably meaning this one, yeah. It's hard to say without actually going in, and I've certainly done pure ink pieces like that. But the way this is working here suggests I think that's watercolour. So I think it might be a mixture of the two. Again, more bus stops, what a surprise. Night scenes. This is the filter beds at night. That's the river at night. Someone was sailing. It's like dusk, so again wax resist. So I was actually drawing with a candle. Oh yeah, this is definitely purely ink. And by this point, I changed it I brought brown into it. So yeah. But you'll see how, interestingly, the ink does spread in a similar way to watercolour. The pigment doesn't, you don't get granulation. So yeah, this is, again, near where my dad lives, Hambledon area. Oh, and this is the filter beds themselves. So this is using a brush pen like this, which I'm going to do some work with later. And I really like doing panoramic things at this point. So this is brush, pen and wash. And it probably is this brush pen because I didn't get this one till later, but it probably is this one. I found it today and I was like, oh, and it's still got ink in it, it's still working. Usually if these things get left capped, you're okay, they shouldn't dry out. Again, Molly, you might remember this. This is walking through the greenwood. And you walk under these, although it might be another part of Box Hill, but you'd actually walk under these branches, and then there's actually, I don't know if they're box trees, they actually grow up as well from there, hence all the sort of the lines upwards, and it creates sort of green arch, and they're quite mad. It's quite mad, that area. Oh yeah, night ink paintings. I think that's Richmond. That's Bushy. Ah, and that is the Broadwood Tower in Box Hill. And one of my hikes for camp. Well, I was actually wrecking for a camp, I think. No, this is pre-wild camping. I found someone had created a seesaw in the wood. Oh yes, yeah. I was fascinated by these. They along the pavements they would, and the river they would put these signs saying give each other 200 meters signs. Oh, and that's at a cemetery. I don't know which cemetery it is. But yeah, it's one of the funerary things. But that is watercolour, definitely watercolour. Oh, this is Ham House. In previous pieces, time streams, you will have seen what's the of Father Thames, the John Bacon Code Stone statue. That's where the best version of that, apart from the bronze version, which is in Somerset House, which again I mentioned in a previous live stream. That is there, and yeah, I struggle with architectural stuff actually. It's easier. It's easier to do things like this. Is that what I think it is? That looks like I'm not sure if that's ink or Lyra. Ah, now we're getting into that's Inktober, I think. Yeah. That is Hampton Court. And that is a sunken dinghy on the river. That is Cigarette Island. Again, if you watch my Thames Path series, you'll see Cigarette Island. This is all pre all of that, but you know, I revisited these places as part of the hiking, as part of the Thames Path. I walked the entirety of the Thames Path, and I actually do a little video segment at Cigarette Island, explain why it's called Cigarette Island. Because Cigarette Island, there used to be a barge called the Cigarette, and yeah, it's hello. It was not an island originally, or it was kind of an island, and then they made it an island because the mole ember was redirected into the ember when they built a new bridge. So it's kind of become a sort of an island, but it's always kind of an island, but it's now joined to the mainland because of the bridge. Oh dear. Yeah. Ah, and there we are. These are mentioned these are in the thumbnails. Again, as I mentioned, drawn in candle. Hi Sid. How are things in Italy? Yeah, this is wax candle and wash, or an ink wash, and that's kind of various. Oh yeah, that was 1 minute, and that was 5 minutes. So it's like I was challenging myself to see how well I could do a self-portrait in a short period. We could try and do that tonight actually, because I was thinking of doing a couple of quick brush pieces, and then maybe doing some drawings with a new pen. I've got a new pen, everyone. Hey, a new Preppy. It's not expensive. It's only like £5. You know, I want to try it. Yeah, I have new pen fever. Yes, this is a thing. Is when I have a new pen, I yeah. I want to have I really want to use it. This is Hampton Court, Home Park. And you see Hampton Court there. Again, fountain pen and probably something like a Preppy actually. Probably my other Preppy that broke. That's in the cafe. I used to always have every Saturday. Used to have a. I used to have a breakfast, an English breakfast at the. Just I can't afford it now. I now do it at home, but yeah, I used to be the treat. Even when I didn't have very much money, I'd always make sure I'd have like a nice breakfast every Saturday because it's just nice, and it wasn't expensive. It was like 5-7 quid, but yeah, when John died, it was like money was so I was like that stopped entirely. So because I didn't have any income at all. And that is the Canbury Gardens. Earlier I was trying to remember the name of this place. This is Canbury Gardens. This is the bandstand at Canbury Gardens. I've drawn and painted this quite a lot. I even sold one of the paintings of it. I really do I like bandstands. I'm a big fan of bandstands. And mushrooms. Oh, it switched itself off. Oh, I want to be able to actually see the chat. It would be nice. But yeah, I know. I've previously had watercolors with the mushrooms, and that's where I live actually. Yeah, that is. That's. I mean, I don't own the house. It's a very small flat in this house in the basement, but this is the. We live in a 1890s, 1880s Victorian house with a tower. It actually has a tower, and it is a beautiful house. It's listed, like the whole area is listed. It's all conservancy. It's like one of the first ever mass listings in like 85, 86. 560 properties, though they're not all houses. They're obviously flats, but a lot. The whole area is listed because it's all was built at the same time, and it's all got these sort of towers and sort of red brick with yellow brick. The red brick being Oxford brick, the yellow brick is local brick. It's somewhere near I think Hammersmith or Putney. But yeah, so you got Oxford red, and then you've got the yellow, what's called London stone. So the yellow bricks you'll see a lot in London are called London stone or London bricks. And then you've got the Oxford Reds, which are not London stone. They're basically called London bricks. They're yellow bricks, which are London bricks, London clay. And then you've got the Oxford Red bricks as well. So it's and obviously you've got the sort of plasterwork, and it's all kind of mass produced in a way, but because it's all one estate. They listed the whole thing because it was being demolished. More mushrooms. Oh no, there's another one. I showed that painting in a previous stream. The actual painting I did of this. This is Nihal, I think, who's a DJ, and this is one of the portrait artists of the year. They did like a live stream, and you could work from it. Joe Strummer. Passion is a fashion. That's a good drawing of him. One of the abstracts. I don't know if is that ink. Oh, that's Posca, I think. Yep, it's ink and Posca. Sid says, I love the windows Victorian lintel. Yeah, the ornate. It's the the ornateness is I love the ornateness of these things. It's the whole. You have these little flowers, and we actually do have like a porch with columns, although it's that the plasterwork is falling apart a bit. So that part isn't too bad, but yeah, there needs to be a lot of work because unfortunately the steps are leaking into my property. So yeah, the plaster of the balustrade is leaking through everything into my property. So we have damp issues. So lovely. So that's more river work and more abstract work. That's around COVID, I think. Whenever I was doing that, these things, the little tendrils, that's COVID. I did quite a few COVID abstracts like that. That's John. He often would, you know, I'd sometimes draw him just randomly, and this is on the sofa here. And, you know, I didn't draw him as much as I would like, but mostly quick sketches because he wasn't a very good model. He wasn't. He used to move a lot, so you had to get him either sleeping or kind of reading a book and then draw him very quickly. Yeah, musical abstract. Lots of musical notes. That's not good. So when I say not good, I mean the mental state. I can tell my mental state by the way I'm drawing. The darker it is, it's kind of a bit obvious that the darker it is, but when I'm actually drawing that erratically and that unhappy, those symbols, cross symbols means negative. Oh, yeah. That's brush pen and wash, and that's another abstract. Okay, so let's try. Unless I'm going to adjust all this now, aren't I? Let's do some work. Let's do some. Yeah, well, you've seen this one in a previous stream. I'm pretty sure I've shown this one. But yeah, I need to be able to see me. So yes. What I was thinking is doing some brush pen work. This could be absolutely terrible. Or should I work with should I work with a new pen? I've actually now filled it full of ink. This is all ink. This is you should be clear. So this has actually been what's called eyedroppered. So the whole of the body of the pen is now ink. So yes, you can work with cartridges or converters, which you can use a little plunger and you can sort of put the pen in and then suck up the ink. True. I prefer to fill it full of ink because then it means I don't have to replace the ink. But I was thinking of doing. Oh, let's get the water. And I dug out my old Derwent water thing, and we've got various brushes here. Probably won't use the really big ones. I'll probably use the Escoda, this one, or the squirrel brush. These are both from Escoda. This is a synthetic because as I said in the previous stream, if I could afford a if I could afford a sable that big, I wouldn't be streaming to you now. I'd be living in a palace because a sable brush this big would cost hundreds of pounds. So this is a synthetic brush, but they are good. Even the synthetic sables are good actually. And this is my squirrel hair. I think it's squirrel. It's one thing squirrels are good for. Travel brush. So I might use one of them. I don't use my sables with ink, obviously. My one sable brush, I do not use it with ink. I do actually have another sable brush somewhere. I don't know where it is. Got a few smaller sable brushes, not a big sable brush. Do not use it. And ever since the sanctions with Russia, sables become incredibly expensive. So, yeah. So I was thinking, I might use one of those for wash. Actually, let's use the squirrel hair I don't mind using, because if that gets screwed up I don't care so much. But the sable, absolutely not. That never gets used for ink. I have done, but you have to be so careful about it not drying on the brush. So I'm like, no. Maybe do that. Absolutely new. Talk amongst yourselves. Oh, that should not happen. Oh, it's come off. That's interesting. It's falling apart. Look, it's falling apart. Crap. This is new. Okay. Maybe not then. I'll have to stick that. Okay. So that's as I say, this could be absolutely terrible. I haven't done a brush pen piece in years, and I haven't done a portrait in years. So this is probably going to be terrible. I have to say thanks to Molly for fixing my glasses, because this really does actually help, and they'll be less wonky, because I had a problem with my glasses. And I will point out that I'm not doing a portrait of myself because I think I'm beautiful. I'm more the exact opposite. It's just that I need some scrap paper, really. Try not to dox myself. Yeah. I wonder if it's because, oh yeah. The stream is not coming out very well, but it could be because it's not been used for a long time. But yeah, as I said the video isn't out yet, but yeah, that's bad. I once had a massive argument with somebody who said you should never put lines down the side of the face. They've been told by the art teacher that you should never use you should never ever, and it was like, right, okay. Yeah, this is not good. I used to be a lot better than this. Right. Yeah, I'm on the yeah, okay. Yeah, that's bad. Right, but yeah. And also, I always have fun with a beard. Yeah. Self-portraits are an interesting one because they're partly about how you see yourself as well, and there's always an offset there. It's easier to draw realistic pictures of someone else. It's harder to do it yourself, and this is not looking like me at the moment. But anyway. The fact it looks vaguely human is a good start, though. At least it does actually look like a human face. That's always a good start. But also it'll probably fade as it will fade because this, yeah. The thing I always used to get wrong is the distance between the top of the head. That is always a difficult one to judge. It is sort of about equidistant. So your eyes and your chin, which obviously you can't see my chin, which makes it a bit more difficult. but it's about equidistant. So it's like the eyes and the, you know, your chin here. I don't know if I'll show you. So your chin here and here, your eyes are about equal there. But sometimes it's quite easy to misjudge the top of your head and put it too short. I used to do that all the time, even when I was doing pieces. So, you know, hey. Eesh. Yeah, I think I'd probably do the definition in wash. But yeah, this is not my best drawing of me. But what did you expect? I haven't done it in years. And this is what I love to do, is so this is where it starts to kind of sort of come back to life a bit. So yeah, this is what I'd love to do, is use water and then spread it like that. So you've got like a you can almost control just by putting the water down in certain areas. You can control how it spreads like that. It's quite a quick way to get a wash or something. But I always love the way this sort of, maybe that's a bit too dark. That's just too dark for that last side. And of course I'm working in ink. Hello, Death Tap. I'm just trying to do a self-portrait, which at the moment does not look like me, but as I say, this is the first one I've done in many years, so I kind of wasn't expecting it to look that much like me. This is the fun part. This is the bit that's always fun. Yep. Yeah. And also glasses. I mean, I have a bit of a problem with the thing, because it's like I've always got people who don't have to wear glasses don't have the problem I have, which is the glasses warp your eyes, so you get like a sort of a weirdness around here, and you kind of have to live with that in drawing. I have done drawings where I actually took my glasses off. That didn't go massively well. Yeah, I think with the ink it's probably best to do the... I can't believe this has come out. I'm not working with the best tools here. Right, so... So we're kind of working negative in a way, because I have a white beard. So, and it was a lot less whiter when I last used to do these. So what we'll do is we work on the outside, because obviously light has shadow. There, stop doing that. You can't get the tools nowadays. Can't get the tools. And down here as well. Hi, White Owl. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just trying to do a self-portrait, which is not that great, but you know, it's as I say, I haven't done a self-portrait in about sort of 2 years, probably. I didn't do a self-portrait for a long time before I stopped, but so possibly 3. I certainly haven't done any portrait work since, I would say, early 2024. So the fact he looks vaguely human is a good start. The fact he doesn't look like anything like me is another question. But that's, you know, that's just the fun of. It's the fun of artwork. It's WG Grace. It could be, yeah. I like WG Grace was cute. Yeah, I would. Not that you were going to ask me about that, but you know, yeah. The Victorians, they liked beards and they didn't mind them. It does vaguely look like me, actually, but vaguely. I do recognise it from different things that the way I looked. It's the way I actually draw myself, which is not me. That's the interesting thing about. Stop it. That's the interesting thing about self-portraits, is when it comes to artist self-portraits, it's not about necessarily. It sounds a bit of a cop-out, but it's not really necessarily about reality. It is and it isn't. Oh crap! That shouldn't have happened. It is, but generally self-portraits are about something else. As I said, about how you see yourself, and in a way that even the best artists wouldn't have done something that was completely realistic. Because it's not really about realism in that sense. It is and it isn't. It's hard to explain unless you're an artist. You know what I'm talking about. It's about mental state and self-image, and you know, it's like, yes, I have done very, very accurate drawings of me, and I was planning to, but you know, it's not always easy. But I'd say you've got the dual thing happening here, which is you have your own self-image at the same time as your image of what you look like, and they don't necessarily combine that well. Yes and no. In that sense, it's kind of an interesting sort of exercise to draw yourself. It's quite hard in a way, because, as I say, it's hard to get a realistic image because you're fighting your own self-image. But also, it's interesting because it's a technical exercise, but also it's also not, if that makes sense. Thanks for coming, Molly. Yeah, he's going to set off to his stream, and I'll recommend that. You know, I think I might do a few more. You know, be a little while longer, and then I'll finish up. But yeah, I know the drawing looks great. It looks okay. As I say, for kind of what for sort of a first try, it's not too bad. I have done so much better than this. But it kind of vaguely looks like me, so that's always a good start. As I said, it's easier to do. That's probably wrong. It's easier to actually draw other people because you don't have to kind of fight your own self-image. That's always a fun one psychologically. Yeah. But yeah, you can see, you can basically see how I do the. This is a good explanation of how I work with the. With the washers, so you get an idea. As I say, and also the challenge of keeping things sort of the challenge of keeping things sort of the white areas, the highlights, when it comes to washers, because you have to be very careful about your water control. As they say in the biz, water control being the sort of the ability to sort of control the water, obviously. I think my nose is too short. Unless your nose is too long. Anyway, yeah, my nose could be better. You can get tablets for that, yeah. says Daft Hat. Yeah, says Nick. True. But yeah, I think my nose is too long. Yeah, it is. I'm not totally sure. And I'm quite used to drawing beards by now, so that's not so hard. But historically it was a bit of a struggle. Because again, you glasses are a fun thing that non-glasses people don't understand how annoying it is to have to try and draw yourself with glasses on. I've had to do that. Yeah, I kind of elongated myself a bit. My head should be wider. So I think I'll put this to the side to dry. I'm going to do a pen piece, and then I think we'll call it a day. This one, hopefully more realistic. This is why you have multiple pads, This is why you have multiple pads, because, it's not so much like, I feel bad not finishing things. This is what I'm doing at the moment, is I'm finishing these sketchbooks. It'd be great to do so. And each of these sketchbooks I'm showing you, I've actually showed on previous streams, so you've actually seen the in progress, stuff like that. You've seen that. In fact, I did that on stream. That's one of the ones I did on stream. So I actually did that on the first drawing stream. So check it out. Go back into the live streams after this, and check it out. So I actually showed myself drawing this, and also in a previous stream, the still live stream, and I'll do more. I will do more still lives. I did. I did that, which is not bad. Again, I've done better, but it's a good start. The first still life in like 2 years or a year and a half, probably 2 years or more actually. So it's a good start. So anyway, I'm going to put this to the side here, hopefully somewhere flat. Of course, we've got nowhere flat. That's a good thing. And yeah, how is everyone? Where's everyone from? We've had someone from, I know Sid is in Italy, and I know, whatever. I know someone earlier was from Istanbul. So where is everyone from? I might use this mirror in future actually, so I can interact with you, but it might be useful actually. It depends, because if I'm drawing something over there, it's kind of in the way, so it might not always be possible to do this, to actually have a. It depends on what I'm doing. For the sketchbooks, I could actually, and then move out of the way for the work. Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I'm cleaning that. Actually, I'll put that down. This is my blotter paper. I always have blotter paper because we're doing the ink work. Sometimes you have to kind of close your sketchbook in the wild. So a good tip is to always have blotter paper with you. So then you can just blot it and also use it as a to do things. So hopefully that's cleanish. Okay. Actually, we're going to do portraits. Up north. Daft Hat is up north. Yeah, I know you're up north. I should be able to do a better northern accent because I was born in Manchester, so up north. No, I can't do that, man. Up north. No. Without whip it. A damp mine. That's a bit better. Anyway. Yeah. Let's take my northern card away. It's weird because when I've been doing videos, especially live streams, it's been coming out. I've been like, oh my goodness, my northern side is coming out. So I might use the. Oh, it's a close-up, isn't it? I need to push it away. Right. Okay. So again, this could be not so great, but I want to try this pen. This is a preppy, platinum preppy. These are about £5. Quite particular eyes for the portrait. Yeah, eyes are always the make and break of a portrait. Sometimes I used to do them first because I knew if I screwed them up, I'd be like, I knew if I screwed them up, I'd be like, oh well, I'm gonna, if I screwed them up, I would be like, I just ditch the portrait. But yeah, it's always a fun one. But yeah, this is the Platinum Preppy. If you want to get into drawing with ink or fountain pen, this is a really good place to start. These are about, well, £5. Sometimes they're a bit more, but eBay, it was a place selling them for £5 with delivery. They are not the most robust of pens, but the nice thing about them is that once you cap them, they stay dry, wet, not dry. They don't dry out. Basically, they don't dry out for years. My capped preppies, my 05mm, which is what this one is, had a cracked cap, so that had dried out and it's not really the same. But the other two, I did clean them, but actually one of them was just fine. It just wrote immediately, and it's like I hadn't touched it for at least a year and a half, maybe 2 years. So yeah, they're a good place to start if you like, even just for writing. If you're not actually wanting to do drawing, they're a good place to start with fountain pens, because they are cheap, and also they write really well and draw really well. So anyway, he said they draw really well, except when they don't. Probably because the ink isn't coming through. I only filled this last night, so yeah, that's a good start. Usually it writes immediately, but I only recently filled this, so it hasn't really filtered through yet. Come on. Not using one of the other pens, but it should. Yeah, usually it's instant for these, but they as I say, I just recently filled this, so it's probably why it doesn't start immediately. It should start immediately. It probably hasn't filtered through yet. We shall see. If not, I'll use another pen. Right, so that's better. It's still a bit scratchy actually. I'd be disappointed if this is not good. So they're usually better than this. So yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit scratchy. But it's also another thing as well with pens. As you use them, you actually sandpaper them if you want. I might do that. I've got the stuff to do that for my other nibs, so I might need a little bit of sandpapering. But yeah, it should be a bit more smoother than this. But then again, not so used to this paper, so it can be a bit of a combination of the both, really. Yeah, that's not good. No. Oh, that's better. I think it's coming through now. I know a bad artist blames their tools, but it's always a way with when you're actually using the tools regularly, you have to rely on them. And it's one of the reasons why I'm not a big fan of vintage pens anymore, because they all just failed. They all just yeah, I think I'm squidging this a bit. Come on. I might switch to another pen. I might switch to the 03. Because this is going to annoy the hell out of me. Be a bit scratchy. That's annoying. I have to play with that. Right. My old art teacher gave us ink and a goose feather once. I tried my best, but I found it frustrating. Ah, it's funny you should say that. It's very funny you should say that. Where is it gone? Of course I threw everything onto here. And where did it go? What did I do with the... It escaped. Yeah, it's really funny you said. Oh, there they are. And they ran flat on the floor. I found these. We could do that if you want. I just need to go and get some ink. Quills. I used to make my own quills. I used to draw with quills. And it's a real kind of skill to make your own quills. It's not really bad, but it's kind of fun. But I might do a stream just where I just use the quills, drawing with a quill. But yeah, it is a fun thing. You have to do a lot of dipping, and you can see why they invented the pen. It's frustrating, very frustrating, and I think I might save that for another stream. I'll do a quill drawing stream. Let's see, where's the typical? I do have all my stuff here, and then it's all through it to one side. Right. Okay, so these are my other pens. I do actually have the original 05 Preppy, but I think it's a bit grumpy at the moment. Let's see. It'd be funny if it's, but yeah, that's kind of a bit scratchy as well. Yeah, this is the original one. Tape doesn't fix it, but I think I remember the 03 is all right. Oh, this is the 02. They have many different sizes. They have 05mm, and then they have this, which is the. Come on. I'm really not selling these. These are usually more less grumpy. There we are. This is going to be a much finer line, but actually will help. Will actually work probably. Yes, that's better. It's always good to have tools that work. Right. Yeah, I've actually got that a bit wrong. It should be a bit lower than that. Anyway. So, yep. And finally, this is what it should be like. Just working. Yep, that's better. That's what it should be doing. So yeah. Well, I don't know if I could send it back because I've got ink in it now, but there's something dodgy about that pen. See if I can fix it. It might just need a clean, but it shouldn't need a clean because it's a new pen, but sometimes they've got gunk in them. Oh my word, my daughter came back from a school trip with one of those, what, the quills? Yeah. I used to do a lot of quill work. I quite liked. There was something very nice about drawing. A few times I drew things. I actually drew the place that I'd got the quill from. So I'd find a feather, and then I'd find a feather. Maybe I shouldn't involve my teeth. That's probably not a good idea. Yeah, and now look. Now like I've got no teeth. Right, but yeah, I'd find a feather, and then I would just sort of use that to draw the place it was from. I thought it was quite a nice idea, and I could have that. You can find a feather on the ground and then use it, but actually what you have to do is harden it first. You can't do that. It would be nicer for a video if you could do it that way, but you can't, because what happens is you need to harden it in the oven first, or leave it for several years. It naturally hardens, because once you've found a fresh feather, and those ones I showed you are turkey feathers. Once you've found a fresh feather, it's still quite supple. It's a bit like nail clippings. Similar idea. It's like the nails. You know, when they're on you, they sort of they're hard, but they have some softness to them. Whereas, like, if you know, as soon as they're not part of you anymore, the sort of the keratin or whatever it hardens. And I think it's the same thing with the substance which might be a similar thing that's in feathers. The hard bit of the feather is not hard to begin with, and so what you have to do is then put it in the oven for a while, or just leave it. And this is where all the writers, all the famous writers before the invention of the pen, used to have like you'd either buy them, but also they quite often have like a whole stack of aging quills that were, waiting to be, waiting to be used, but also aging themselves. So yeah. I'm a big fan of archaic drawing methods. Just trying to make it more difficult for myself, which is hilarious, since I struggled so much to do basic stuff. I don't know why I decided to make it hard for myself. But it's this is better. It's still not great. It's a better drawing than the other one. And we've got a pen that works, which is always a good start. Nope, I can't see. I need to turn the time out on this. But yeah, so can you see that? Yeah. Yeah, no, this is better. I'm enjoying this more than the last one. And it's nice to have a pen that just works. I do actually quite like, I usually prefer 05mm or 08mm, like the technical pen I use is 08. But, you know, I do actually quite like finer nibs as well. It's just the ink flow isn't usually as good as it could be. Yeah, I really wish I hadn't done my teeth now. Anyway. So it makes it look very buck tooth. But yeah. Anyway. Yeah, I'm very self-conscious about my teeth. Right. My parents should have. In the UK, dentistry is very expensive and not part of the NHS. So I should have, as a kid, have had braces or something like that. But my parents never did that. You know, they just left their teeth to be all wonky. That's why people go, oh, well, Brits have bad teeth. It's not actually specifically true. I mean, but it's just that the problem is the dental is private, and so yeah, my teeth look terrible. That's why I generally don't smile with my mouth open in any of the YouTube stuff. I try not to. Just yeah, and it's a difficult thing. You can't, once you've grown up, you can't really fix it so easily. I don't like going to dentists anyway at the best of times. Yeah, Sid says, it's better for the fine liner, annoying working with a brush. Yeah. I like working with brushes. You can work really quickly with a brush, you know, brush and ink, but it is a bit of a, there is a randomness to it, which yeah, it still doesn't look totally like me, does it? It looks a bit more like me, but yeah, it's still, yeah, I got these eyes wrong. What a surprise. Right. What's not helping is that, yeah, I should have put the glasses further up. But anyway. You wouldn't have thought I spent years doing portraits. Right, would you? What I'm not a big fan of is hatching. I mean, some people really like hatching. I'm just like, I just lose my patience after a while. Just like a bad doctor, I lose my patience. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's better, but it's not great. The thing about me, I'm hypercritical as well. But as I say, have you seen my other work? I used to be an artist, so it kind of gets annoying when you're like, but I have to accept that it'll be like with everything. You suck. You suck at first. Where's my chin? Probably is about right. Like everything, you suck at first, and you just have to live with failing. You just have to keep failing until you stop failing. And that's, yeah, that's just how it is. I think a lot of people don't want to, yeah, that's probably better. I have lower lids than that. But that's the thing, is that people do this thing where they get upset that then it's not instantly good, and that's actually not the way it works. You have to accept that you're going to be crap for a long time, and that you just you know, that whole thing about you fail till you stop failing, and you keep failing better each time, is very true. And with artwork, it's very, very true. And I think a lot of people don't, you know, they don't want to accept that, and you know, either they stay at the same level all the time. I mean, it's fine if you're just doing it for a hobby, but if you're trying to do something, you're trying to get good at it or better at it, you have to be quite critical of your failings. And people used to be really surprised about, why I'd be so negative about my work, and it's kind of important, It's important to be really negative about. This may sound a strange thing to say, but it's important to really hate your work. Because the artist that doesn't hate their work is not a good artist. What's the best situation is you do something and you just hate it less. But every time you do something, you realise how much it could be better. Every time, and it's a difficult one because you don't want to diss your own work because then people think it's crap. But privately, yes, you have to just not, be very, very critical of what you're doing and not just accept it because you did a thing. I mean, as I say, it's fine if you're just doing it for pleasure, then that's fine. And you should always give yourself some kind of grace. But at the end of the day, if you want to get good at something, you have to accept you're going to suck at it, and you have to accept that it's going to be difficult to. It's going to be that you just can't just coast along going, oh, that's good, because you need to get better at it, and so you need to accept that it doesn't work sometimes. The Deaf Tat said, when a dentist looks in your mouth, he sees the gift of his next car. We fought both tooth and nail to get free braces for our daughter, says Deaf Tat. It was a traumatic experience for all of us. Dentists loathed NHS patients. It's very true. And Sid says, I think this one is great, while the other looked a bit like an old Darwin. Yeah, I know. This is more like, I've done this style before. I actually use it as a profile picture sometimes on certain websites. They don't always allow it, interestingly. Some profile sites, some dating sites actually ban artwork. And you're like, some of us are artists, thank you very much. Why can't we use our biggest benefit? Because artists make better lovers, So, we do. We do make better lovers. But, support the arts. Screw an artist. Right. I can't say the full quote. Not on YouTube. But but yeah, I've had it. But I think it's to get rid of people using AI and stuff, and faking their profiles for pictures. But it's like, really, I've got pictures that are real on there. Why can't I show my artwork off? Apparently not. And that one is a realistic one of me, so I'm not lying. It's not being an idealised picture or anything. Oh, there's foxes outside. I can hear them. But yeah, the NHS and dentistry is a real nightmare. And I wish my parents had, but then again, it would have been traumatic, so I don't know. But so that's why my teeth are not so good. And I now have to face all those issues nowadays, and trying to clean them is always fun. Yeah, I'm going to stick with just drawing. I was going to do a wash on this, but I think it's probably fine to just do this with shading. Slim Shady. I don't mind looking like Darwin anyway. I remember watching a man paint terracotta plates in Spain. He spent 20 minutes doing a demo. Almost everyone bought one. Then he fired out a dozen more within an hour. Yeah, it is. Although, I used to do videos, live videos, or not live, well, live videos of my paintings. A few of them are still on my other channel, Tim Bear Cub. It's my secret channel, which I don't generally link because it's got copyright stuff on it. But yeah, there was some stuff on there, but I generally didn't sell anything. To friends, yeah, but to strangers, no. I don't think my style. There's someone in a comment compared me to Picasso and Chagall, which I was like, that's nice. Thank you. You know, my style. You know, it's funny because, as I say, my style has very much been criticised in the past. As I said in previous videos. My teachers used to have a go at me for being too scratchy, which I now embrace. But it was always when you were you know, trying to do something and you want to be. I wanted to make it my career. It kind of affects you because you're like, you know, but they all wanted me to be like bloody Michelangelo. And it's like, well, for a start, why? And for another reason, like, we're not all going to draw like Michelangelo, are we? We all have different styles. But yeah, they wanted me to be like that, and not just me, but everyone. They wanted all of us to be kind of mini Michelangelos, you know, with one defined line. And oh, look, you know, you draw with the charcoal and you just do this line and it's perfect, and that kind of stuff, and all that. And I get it because, you know, there is something to be said for doing very kind of like quick work with, you know, like in life drawing. I learnt that, which is, you know, you do expressive lines, but you look at the stuff afterwards and it'll be complete bollocks. I threw away a lot of that stuff. I'm throwing out a lot of that work because it's just like, this is at the time it felt like it was the best thing, and then when I look at it again, you know, when I'm, at the time you think, oh, this is amazing, oh, that's so expressive, and then you look at it afterwards and go, what is that? What is this? What is this crap? You know, I mean, sometimes you look at your old work and you look at it and you go, oh wow, actually, I didn't like this at the time. There was something there, and this is really good. And then sometimes you do something and you're like, what is this? You know, what was I thinking? And you know, as I say, you've got to fail a lot, but also sometimes, yeah. I don't understand a lot of art tutors and people who, you know, do live drawing sessions or whatever. They're always about the sort of quick expressive line. It's a, and I get it. If you spend all your time thinking about what line you're going to do and it vaguely looks like me, and you know, and obsessing about the art, you know, you're not going to get good at it because it's like you have to kind of keep drawing and also not be too precious about it, because you have to always, you know, you have to start the page. The worst thing is when you've got an empty page and you're looking at it and you're going, oh my goodness, what can I do with this? You know, oh my goodness, you know, it just looks like, you know, and that's a difficult one, you know, but the paralysis is a real thing, but so I get it, not being precious about your work and trying to be doing something that's sort of, you know, trying to break the ice and get started, and, you know, and not get too hung up on whether it's good or not, and just keep drawing. That is a good thing, but there is a point of where I think it's a trade-off, and you you know, sometimes you spend hours on something and it's a pile of cack, and sometimes, you know, and you're overworking something and it just doesn't work, and you should maybe move on and try something else. But sometimes you rush something and you shouldn't have rushed it, and it just doesn't, you know. I'm worried about his eyebrows. I think the eyebrows are a little bit too, yeah. You know, sometimes you work on something and it's like, it's just not, you know, you're overworking it and you should have stopped ages ago. And sometimes you're working on something and you end it too quickly, or, you know, you rush it. And it's knowing that balance is that you know, good artists know when to stop, and good artists know, you know, can pull that trick, the Picasso trick of, oh, here's a napkin, and just doing it really quickly, and here we are, and in 5 seconds you've got a dove or whatever. That's what Picasso used to do. But also, you're also supposed to spend hours and, you know, months on things as well. So it's a trade-off. But, you know, it's, I don't know. It's like the expressive line is good, but also sometimes you have to. Sometimes you know, you do have to work on things and get them to a good point. You know. Is it hard to return to a project after a break? Says Daft Hat. Yes, I'm not a big fan of doing that. I have done it, but I don't really like. I like getting things finished in one sitting, which is not always possible. Depends on the project. It's not always possible to do that, and so, you know, I'd be very bad. I do it with my video editing as well. I want to get to a certain state by a certain point, and I don't like coming back to stuff. And it's not healthy doing like one long session in like 12 hours or whatever. And you do get tired, so it's always a good idea to have breaks and not try and do that. But yeah, I'm bad for wanting to get it all done and finished, and, you know, and get all my expression in there, and, you know, if I'm trying to do something, getting it all finished in one. But some things obviously they have to dry, and oils are a case in that you cannot rush an oil. You know, if you're going to do multiple layers, you have to wait for each layer to dry, and that can take days. That's why oils are very kind of not only expensive, but also difficult to do. And you know, it also depends how you work. I work quite thick, and that would take a while to dry, but it wasn't too bad, because I'd use additives to speed up the process, that speed up the drying. But certainly acrylics as well, they dry quite quickly, but you still have to wait like 30 minutes for a thing to dry. And if you're doing like a big abstract, as I was, I would be like on a roll and be like, I want to do it now, and have to wait for this bit to dry. And, you know, sometimes you ruin it because you just kind of try to work with it when it's not actually finished, fully dry, and stuff like that. And yeah, I'm not a fan of that kind of, you know. I really wish sometimes you could just dry immediately. But I don't like. I'm not a fan of coming back to things. It's the reason why I have done it, especially with some of my big watercolors. I've had to go back the next day. Sometimes it saves a piece, and sometimes it ruins it. Sometimes I've come back to a piece, and then I've been like, I've ruined this, and it's really depressing. Sometimes it'd be like, oh, this is terrible, and actually, so the next day you're in a different mind state, and it can sort of just ruin it. So, you know, I'm always like, if I'm on a roll, I want to get it done there and then. But it's, as I say, with stuff like landscape, you can run out of light quite often. That's what usually would happen, is I run out of light. So what I'm doing here is I'm using the back of the pen, because if it's a good pen, you can actually use that like the upside down, and that creates a finer line, a very fine line. Good for shading. Not every pen will do this. Not every pen will allow you to do this, but this will. But yeah, this is probably getting to a point where I need to stop because, again, I'll probably ruin it. Nope. Okay. Yeah. It's good for the sort of the giving it these bits definition in a very fine way to actually use the back of the pen, the back of the nib. That's a hack for you, using the back of a nib of a pen, because yeah, the front gives the stronger lines, and as I say, I do actually have. They're not working because they're all failed, pretty much. I do actually have flex pens where you can actually use pressure to do that. Flex nibs. Flex pens, that's my vintage pens that are like that. I don't know why it looks like I'm looking to this side, anyway. It works. But yeah, this redrawing thing I do, you're not supposed to do this. But I don't. This is part of my style. I actually intentionally overdraw things as well. Again, you're not supposed to overdo that. But I used to intentionally overwork things just to see how far I could push it. And it's kind of interesting because it's like you get to a point of where it's like you think it's ruined, and then you keep going, and suddenly it comes back again. Sometimes, no, it just gets more ruined. But often it's a bit of a cycle. I used to get mocked for the fact my hatching wasn't all. As I say, there's all these ideologies, and it pisses me off. I'm not a fan of any of these. I'm not a fan of these ideologies that people push in the way you should be working, even amongst my peer group. There is no rule really. It works for you. It works. But often you'd get these, not just the teachers, but people I knew would be like, "Oh, did you do that?" I'd be like, "Because it felt right. Because it works. Looks good." "Oh, you shouldn't have lines down the nose." Okay, you were taught an ideology then, obviously. Sucks to be you. To be so fixated on it has to be a right way. There's not a right way. The only right way is whether it works for you and whether it looks good or it says what you want to say. It doesn't have to look good. It can look bad if that's what you want. If you want to make it look ugly and horrible, that's also part of it. Which may sound a bit strange. It's great how your anarchic side comes out in every live. Keep going, says Sid. Thank you. Yeah, I rebel against all of this ideology that I've been. I could go into a long rant about my art education, about how it was not. How it put me off the whole thing because it was just, again, so many expectations from people's own stuff. They expect it. They would expect it to be a certain way, and it had to be that way. It doesn't, not the way it works, not the way the world works. That's better. It's better than the other one. Still not totally me, but you know. Still not totally me, but it's closer. But yeah, I used to get criticised for this kind of scratchy style, but it's how I draw. It's what I do, you know. I like to redraw lines, and like kind of, it's become. And then when I saw, what really pissed me off is I was constantly told how, oh, you know, you can't, you know, you've got to have a decisive line and all that sort of stuff. And then I saw the work of what's his name, Giacometti. Have a look at Giacometti's drawings. The man that did those amazing sculptures, he draws like me. He draws in this sort of very scratchy style. This is what he did, and it's like, if someone had said to me, shown me Giacometti's work, I would have gone, yes, someone who draws like me and understands what that this concept of a defined line is just it's a parlor trick. You know, I could probably do it. I used to be able to draw. Perfect, fairly perfect circles and stuff like that. You know, it's just a parlor trick. I really don't, it's like parlor trick should not be an art, but a lot of it is. DefTat says, were the teachers aiming to get students to produce things within the parameters of the curriculum? I don't think so. The curriculum was quite loose in GCSE and A-level. Possibly, but I don't think they, there's nothing in the curriculum that says you must draw like Michelangelo or Raphael, because, I mean, they were drawing from when they were very small, and were geniuses at it. And they've been doing nothing but drawing. They didn't, if Michelangelo and Raphael had been around nowadays, they'd probably spend their time doing TikTok videos. They would have been doing something else. But because all they had was drawing and painting, that's what they specialised in, and they were the whole indenture system. They didn't have to go to school. They were good at that, so they went and they went and mixed paint for another artist and were taught how to paint backgrounds, and eventually were allowed. Weren't they allowed to do any of the face and the eyes and the hands? But they were, they didn't ever have to go to school. They were functionally probably illiterate, I think. So they'd spent the whole of their childhood, working in a studio for an artist, or not whole their childhood, but certainly from about sort of before 14, and probably a lot younger. Because the old masters used to get children to mix their paints. That's what the paints are mixed by children usually. It's child labour. But often those would be the children of that were wanting to become artists themselves, and some of them would be taken on as apprentices. So if they showed a certain talent, but it's. I asked, DefTat says, I asked because I know 3 people took art at A-level and 2 of them went on to be draftsmen, apprentices. Yeah, there is an element of accuracy in drawing which is stressed by it, and I don't know. It's you have to have some soul to it as well. You can't just go, oh, yeah, I'm gonna I'm going to draw this, and But in my case, it was less about technical accuracy. It was more about well, kind of technical accuracy, but more about the issues of expressiveness and also accuracy as well. So they wanted expressive, quick lines, confident marks, but they had to be accurate as well, or fairly accurate. So it wasn't just any old bobbins, but you know. Whereas I've found that in life drawing classes they do a variant of that, which is about, it's not about accuracy, it's about the expressiveness of the line. Which again, I understand. You know, I understand what they mean. I understand how they're expressing this. I get it. It's just, it's an ideology. It's just irritating because it's not it's not the only way, as Giacometti shows us, as other artists that don't draw in this sort of old masters way. But I was just found it a bit bizarre because it's a hangover from the academy system, and you know, and we're talking the 90s here or the 80s. It was sort of it should have died a long time ago. And it did in a way, but you know, there was some, you know, the Bauhaus was supposed to have liberated from this and seen the artist as a sort of a factory, you know, like Warhol. But yeah, unfortunately, they kind of, some people kept that alive. Unfortunately, that idea from the academy system, and it's just like, eesh. Because we don't need to draw like that anymore, because we've got the camera. Once you've got the camera, you don't need to draw like this anymore. You don't need to draw representationally. You don't need to draw a paint representationally at all. It's different, and the way the seeing is different, and the time-lapse method of my drawings and paintings and my landscapes are they're moments in they're not moments in time. They're not like fractions of a second. They're several hours, and so they're a composite of everything in front of you. The sky changes, the birds land, people come in, people leave, and you choose which bits to stay. So they're actually a composite of 2-3 hours. It's like time travel. So it's very much not. Photography can't do that. Photography can't easily. You could, but you have to take many photographs and then digitally composite them together, and where it's natural with this. And it's the same with this drawing. Things. I mean, in this case, the lighting isn't changing, and I'm not changing necessarily. But as you do it, things come and go in a way that doesn't happen with photography. So once you've got photography, you don't need to focus so much on the representation. It's more about the expression and what you're trying to say. And that's why it's quite funny, the idea of, you've got to be like this. It's like, in the age of reproduction, you don't need to be like that. You do not need to be sort of accurate. I just realised there's a shadow on my head, and it's, I just realised, look, yeah. Obviously I touched myself with, that's not a shadow. I was trying to draw it and think, that's not there. Oh dear, yeah. Now it's all red, that's good. Yeah, because I've got hands like that, you see. I've got hands like that, so yeah. Don't touch your face when you're doing a self-portrait. Yeah, it's all an ideology, and as I say, I was surprised at that in the 80s and 90s. And now art A-level and GCSE is very much about mixed media, and whereas I was using computers at art school when it wasn't a thing. It wasn't part of the curriculum. We weren't supposed to. But I was using computers and computer-generated artworks and and video. Video was part of it, but not in photography, but not computer. So I was trying to do something new, which they didn't understand. But I did my dissertation on cyberspace. I got a 2-2, so, you know, didn't do badly. I don't think they understood what I was talking about. It was all very early for 1995. But, you know, it's. I think John read it. I think he was a bit flummoxed by by my dissertation on virtual reality. So yeah, he was a bit weirded out by it. So, but yeah, it was BA honours as well. It wasn't any old course, you know. BA honours is honours degree. It's harder. That's why I had to do a dissertation. And I think you have to do a dissertation for normal BA, but there's less essays. I think it's more about the actual work. But you know, I struggled. I was alright with writing, but you know, I struggled with the stuff. Sorry, Tim. I'm gonna have to go. Time for land nods to good night. Yeah, I think I'm going to finish anyway. I think I've got that to a fairly good state. I think that's not too bad. Again, I mean, I don't know. You be the judge. You be the judge of whether it looks like me. Hello. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it looks a bit closer to me. It looks better than. Though I like this piece. I like this piece. It's dried now. Mostly dried. You know, I do like this piece as well. Again, I'm not looking at the camera. I'm looking slightly to the side. Or the artist, me. What that psychologically says about me, I don't know. But yeah, how long have we been streaming for? Probably way too long. 111 minutes. Wow, 2 hours. I knew it was going to be at least an hour. But anyway. But yeah, I like this one. It's very Confucius. Very Confucius. Confucius, you say. I mean, that one's more accurate, but I actually prefer the other one. But anyway. But it still doesn't totally. This looks more like me. It doesn't totally look like me, but it just looks closer. That's the thing about self-portraits. Sometimes it depends on your mood. It depends on your where you're at, and it depends on quite a few factors about whether it's working for you or how you see yourself in that moment. So it's not always. So yeah, thanks for coming, everyone, and thanks for watching, everyone who watches, and everyone watching on the live stream, and also watching on the catch up. Probably on fast forward. Yeah, it takes a while. I was going to do an hour, and then, yeah, but I thought it would be a while if I did a couple of self-portraits. I think we'll come back to this, and certainly, I think we're gonna do some quill work. I think that's a good idea. I've got the Jackson's ink. I mentioned the Jackson's ink in the previous live stream. I should be able to find. I've got little jars of that, or I'll get some out of the big jar, a big bottle. But yeah, the Jackson's ink is fun because it's quite black, and it acts quite differently from the ink I'm using here. The fountain pen ink has to be quite thinner, and that is more like ink. You know, it's more like the rotary ink. It's like solid black, and it's kind of fun how it, especially how you can spread it. And we'll see if we can get these to work. And most of them look like they're all right. Hope they might be a bit scratchy. Some of them are a bit splintered, so we'll see. We'll see. These are turkey feathers, by the way. Yeah. That would be right. I don't want to make any more. Anyway, I don't have the sand anymore. I used to have a tin with sand, and the way you do it is you heat the tin. It might still have it, actually. I'm not sure if I threw it out. You get a tin can full of sand. You heat it up in the oven for several hours, and then you put it in, and it hardens the edges. Tip for you there. So yeah, I'll stick to the second Sid says, thank you, lovely to see you drawing. Yeah, I know, I wasn't sure if I was going to get to do a stream this weekend because of stuff. And yeah, no, it's been good and enjoyed it. I still prefer the other one, but anyway, but this was not bad. So yeah, it's I will speak to you soon, and yeah, we've got the videos that are coming up. We've got Rutland will be next Sunday. So Sunday at 8 o'clock UK time will be the Rutland video. That's a lot of fun. I've just put up a video which is more for Black Friday, which is about how to find cheap hiking gear. So that, if you're interested in the hiking gear stuff, those videos are on my channel, or will be on my channel. I'm doing more kind of garden stuff, more kind of. I'll explain at some point about what my plans are for the channel, but it's not changing. I'm still doing the trips, I'm still doing the art, I'm still doing the streams, but there is a kind of a plan with the gear videos where going forward, because they make money for the channel, but they're not kind of intended for my main audience. So I have worked out a way of kind of running those two in parallel, and I'll explain in one of my hiking videos to my usual audience about how that's going to work, but you will see some different videos coming out, which might not be coming out to my main subscribers. It might just be going out to other people, and the idea is to make money for the channel, so we can fund more trips. So it's cynical. It's a bit cynical, but it has to be. We have to get money to fund things. We haven't got any advertising or sponsors or anything, so those videos act as almost like adverts, not for the channel, but kind of for people that want to tell me my views are useless and aluminium is toxic and everything is going that I'm terrible. Ironically, we need kind of their engagement and their views to get the channel becoming more of a thing. But I don't want them to subscribe, so I want people like you. I want people who likes my artwork. I want people who like my hikes. That's what I'm focusing on. But we need to kind of hustle. So anyway, I will speak to you soon, and hope you're well, and have a good night. Are you sure that you want to? Yeah, I have to take this out, don't I?